Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit of the WoW podcast, Blue Please on CynicalBrit.com. Right, we're going to have a little look at Zul Gurub. So this will be the first in what I would imagine will be either 2 or 3 videos, depending on length. Having a look at the remodeled and rehashed Zul Gurub Instance that is coming in patch 4.1. There's also going to be some videos of Zul Aman. And yes, I did notice that that guy's called Jinrock. Go figure. Now, what I'll be doing in this video is sneaking around and showing you all of the new bosses, as well as any of the changed terrain and things like that. There are quite a few curious things in here, including this guy. Not entirely sure why we'd want to buy any Telebim bananas, but he has them in abundance. I don't know where he keeps them, and frankly, I don't want to. Now, the normal layout of Zul Gurub is fairly similar. There are some changes. First thing to concern yourself with is this Venomancer. I've spotted 2 Venomancers in this particular dungeon, and as far as I can tell, this Venomancer is causing this entire area to be covered in poison. It means getting through it is extremely difficult. It is not easy at all. It can be done, especially if you are a rogue and you're using sprint and then you pop a vanish to make sure all the aggro drops and things like that, but it is blatantly not what you're supposed to be doing. So I would imagine you'll probably have to kill the Venomancer first, and she sits on about 1.2 million HP, which is not a huge amount. I assume that she's merely a mini-boss. However, if you recall correctly, there was another way around, and this way is still accessible. Although, do bear in mind that the frenzies, the evil, nasty fish that used to be in the water are still there, and they hurt even more than now at level 85 elites, and they will hit you rapidly in 12k chunks on leather, so you don't really want to be falling in the water. What we also have are these. I'm not entirely sure why we're getting these Karaji style bugs all over the place, but a lot of them are neutral. The only one that I can see that isn't is that one, and you also aggro the bugs if you go across the poisonous plants over near the Venomancer, as I showed you earlier. But yeah, there are a lot of neutral mobs in this instance, which is very odd. I don't really know if they're all going to stay that way. There's actually an entire Zandalar village in here, and the plot I really do not know. It hasn't really been revealed as of yet. Perhaps it will be in terms of the voice acting, and maybe there might be some scripted events in here, but this is still in very early stages, so I don't know just how much of it is working. As regards to Zul Aman, I think that's open as well, but once again, certainly unfinished. This is all PTR content. You can check it out yourself if you so desire. You can head on over and download the PTR client. Check out Wowpedia for a full guide as to how to do that. Now, that entrance right there used to take you up to the Jindo the Hexer area. That has now changed. I will show you that later, because we're going to take a look around here and try and avoid as much of this stuff as possible. I also noticed these Zanzil Mind Slaves, which is intriguing. The reason for that is Zanzil Mind Slaves used to be hanging around in Stranglethorn Vale, and of course, Mind Slaves of Zanzil. Zanzil the Outcast, who was at least a level 46 NPC. Now, if you've done any of the questing around here in Cataclysm, you'll be aware that Zanzil was recruited by the Shade of Jindo the Hexer in an endeavor to resurrect some of the old High Priests and restore Zul Gurub to its former glory. However, pesky adventurers screwed all that up, and Jekyll did not get resurrected. Venoxus, however, did. And Venoxus is actually in this dungeon, and I should also point out that Zanzil is in this dungeon, in the place that Jindo the Hexer used to be. And he looks like, as far as I can tell, the penultimate boss. Now, speaking of rather odd things, yes, welcome to the Tiki Boss. Well, one of 2. Tiki Lord Zimwei. There is another Tiki Boss. These are mini-bosses. I don't know what the popping corn thing is. Probably just some PTR joke, so I wouldn't expect it to be there. But you can easily sneak by this guy. He is one of 2 Tiki Lords that I've managed to find. It's a little odd. Don't really know why he's there, but it's cool to see some giant Tiki masks with glowing eyes. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, this, if you recall correctly, is the Temple of Bethe Eck, which was the old Panther boss. Bethe Eck is not there. Bethe Eck is dead. We killed Bethe Eck. As regards to which bosses are in here that were in there before, Venoxus is, although he's in a pretty different form. As far as I'm aware, that is about it, at least in terms of physical bosses. There's some odd stuff, and I'll show you that a little bit later. Regardless, everything else is new. There's a demon in here, well, a Void Walker anyway. as well as a few things. Oh yes, of course, there's actually Bloodlord Mandakir. Bloodlord Mandakir is on a skeletal raptor, so one has to assume that he has also been resurrected. Now, as regards to the Bethe Eck chamber, what you're going to see here is a new boss. The gong is gone, so I don't know what the mechanics for this boss are. Obviously, I'm not going to engage it solo. That would be pretty damn stupid, and it took quite a while to get here. But whatever the case, looking a little unpleasant. Brand new High Priestess, Kilnara, and there are also some Shadow Panthers around here, the pride of Bethe Eck. So Panthers will still be involved by the looks of it, but we don't know what the mechanics are. Once I do a full run of this, obviously I can give you a full rundown of what the bosses can actually do. Right, let's get out of here. I think we can skip all of this and I'll show you some new stuff. Okay, so there is something odd in this particular area. There is an entire village of Gurubashi refugees. Now, I don't know why these are here, honestly. I assume that they are linked in through quests and you will find out through the lore, but since we're sort of doing this in isolation from all that, it's a little weird to find them here. As to be aware, of course, the Gurubashi were the original inhabitants of this place, so it looks like just some of them have come back here to chill for whatever reason. But, like I said, you don't have to fight them. You can very easily aggro them if you desire, but there doesn't seem to be a purpose of it. However, the initial quest that you get in here is to kill a guy in here, which is the Gurubashi Master Chef. Yes, not Master Chief, the Gurubashi Master Chef. You kill him, and also the giant Troll Berserker Fisherman. Oh, yes, and do be careful not to hit them. It's a fairly silly thing to do. Aggro an awful lot of them. There you go, there's the Gurubashi Master Chef. You kill him as part of a demoralization campaign against the Gurubashi. Now, these guys don't really seem to care. Maybe it's just because I'm a troll and they recognize one of their own, or maybe they just don't give a damn. Whatever the case, you can, if you so desire, kill them. However, this area, you don't have to be stealthed in. You will not aggro anything. So we're now moving on to what used to be the home of the Tiger Boss, whose name always escapes me. I completely forget. But whatever the case, I remember he used to be a bit of a pain back in the day until they eventually nerfed him down. Oh yes, and the lost offspring of Gazranka patrol this area. They are also quest mobs of some description. I don't really know for what quest, but obviously it indicates there's the icon. Right, so we've got this guy right here, Mortax, the Tolling Bell, here, level 86 Demon. Nasty, nasty Void Walker. Very large Void Walker. Now, the odd thing about this guy is that he seems to be sacrificing Gurubashi villagers. And I don't know why that would be, but presumably he's eating them or something like that. Whatever happens is you've got a bunch of worshippers just sort of chilling around saying, hey, look, giant Void Walker with lanterns, really awesome. Oh, look, it's a villager. What will you have me do? Well, the answer is he will tell the villager to climb, and the villager will then climb up to the top and will, at that point, be slaughtered in some kind of weird, arcane, dark, evil rune on the ground. We can have a look at that in just a moment. Intriguing stuff. I have no idea why there's a demon in here, honestly. There used to be demons, admittedly. There were a bunch of imps that were incredibly annoying in the Madness area. Madness area is still there, by the way. It has, as far as I can tell, been changed to some degree, although I think the original summonable mini-bosses are still available. So, there we go. Oh, what is this? I'm sure this will be nice. Ooh, a tingling sensation in my soul. And you're about to be horribly, horribly dead. There you go. Why would you do this? One has to wonder. I simply do not know. Right, okay, so that's that guy, and he's just going to keep doing that over and over and over again. He doesn't do anything else. Now, I don't want to engage him for obvious reasons, so we'll go and see exactly what else is available. Now, as you move out of this area, you start to find hostile packs again, so do watch out for that, but it is nice that you don't have to fight all the way around, because as we are well aware, Zul Gurub was piled to the brim with trash in a very unpleasant manner, and until you really got the hang of the instance, it took bloody forever. There we go, more villagers. Now, what we have here is Zul Gurub's version of the Frogger Corridor. It is a large number of Tiki flamethrower traps. Yes. A little messy, folks, a little messy. You don't want to stand in those. They tick for a lot. They hurt like hell, as we will discover. And this is the way to the Cache of Madness. A little bit different. Now, for some reason, they've been gathering artifacts. I don't know for what purpose, but whatever the case, we will find out once we make our way past here. Look left, look right, folks. Look both ways. It's the kind of thing you were taught as a kid when crossing the road. In this case, it's crossing the horrible troll flame. Now, Zanza, the Restless, is still here. He gives you a dire warning that stuff up there is kind of not so great, as we are about to find out. The spirits are restless. To be fair, the spirits are always restless, so that's not much of a warning, but up we go, and we will find a large group of floating purple tikis. I want to try and avoid those if at all possible. They do hurt like hell. On their own, they're okay, but they tend to spam a bunch of nasty arcane bolts at you. Now, at the back, there are a collection of artifacts, and I really don't know what the purpose of these artifacts actually are. I'll show you what happened when I actually clicked some of them. I have to wonder if these have got anything to do with summoning those old mini-bosses. Now, according to Wowpedia, those old mini-bosses are still here, available in this area. Although as to how you get a hold of them, I really do not know. It was a rather odd procedure last time, to the point where we just didn't bother with it. So, it's intriguing that they're still there, and I will be interested to see what actually happens. Hopefully this time they actually drop something worth getting. Yes, I'm sorry, the Pitchfork of Madness was not worth the extra time. It really wasn't, as much as I would like to say otherwise. Right, okay, let's get out of this area and see what else is available for us. Once again, we come across what appears to be a mini-boss. I don't know if you get anything from these. It'll be interesting to see whether or not that's the case. I have to wonder if that's related to some of the other mechanics within Zul Gurub. So, we'll go past that, no problem whatsoever. Now, that mini-boss doesn't have a huge amount of health, but she does have a rather large group of followers, so that might be a little bit unpleasant. Now, there are two of these, and these large troll berserkers, which are also quest mobs, one assumes you have to kill them to stop the Gurubashi from reclaiming all of Zul Gurub. This guy's the Demolisher, and he's trying to make his way through the rubble over here. Admittedly, the Gurubashi workers don't seem to be all that impressed with his efforts. He's not doing all that well. So that area right there is collapsed, and there is another area which leads up to the spider boss, the old spider boss, that is not available. I do not know if there's any kind of gating mechanic here. I do not know if they intend to open up other bosses, or if they're just putting them in there simply for flavor. It is a possibility, but obviously they are quest mobs, and there's the other one right there, and all of the rubble has collapsed, blocking off the way through to the old spider boss. Now, if you remember correctly, we're about to go up here, which is where Mandakir used to hang out, and there's an interesting little gauntlet event you've got to do here, which involves dodging these boulders. So we're going to go dodge some boulders. There we go. They will come down of one of 3 different paths in rapid succession. So how good are you at avoiding very large, obvious stone objects? It turns out that by the looks of it, you can also just sneak along the side, which will prevent you having to get hit by any of them. And as you'll also notice there, they finally realized the weakness in their defenses and built a fence over the area you used to be able to sneak around. So, this is Mandakir's old area. Now, Mandakir isn't actually where he used to be. He's in the ring over there. You might be able to see him in the corner. What I discovered here were these bizarre cauldrons. Now, these cauldrons give different effects, but as I discovered, I couldn't really click it and then vanish quickly enough again before I died in a horrible manner. I was like, yeah, it's okay. We'll get vanish out. Oh, it's on cooldown. Right. Well, we'll just wait a second, and then we'll give it a quick click and see, will we survive? Well, I didn't actually put vanish. There we go. There's vanish. No, stun, locked, dead. Now, what that cauldron did is it gave my next attack the ability to freeze a target. Now, these cauldrons are all over the place, but they are most prevalent within the Zanzil area, i.e. the old Hexa area. So, I assume they are a key mechanic of that fight, and as regards to what they do otherwise, I think they're just little bonuses. Now, as you saw, Mandakir's area is broken off right there. You can't get in, but there is the new Mandakir, the resurrected Mandakir. I am told that the mechanics for this fight are similar. There is a level up mechanic. There is a coming back as a spirit mechanic. So, not an awful lot of changes there, which I might say is somewhat disappointing. We'll have to see how they've reimagined it and see whether or not it's worth doing. Obviously, they've updated the model somewhat by putting on the Zolaman armor as opposed to the Zul Gurub armor, and making use of that bony raptor. So you cannot go through there. That area is completely collapsed. It's interesting to jump over it, though, because what you will notice is the area behind it is completely and totally untouched. Where did that rubble actually come from? One has to wonder. Alright, let's continue with the sneaky and see what else we can find. Now, as I said before, Venoxus is back in a different form. We're quite close to that now because we're in the coil. There is another one of those Venomancers over there. And there we go, with 2 rather large serpent guards, nice recolored hellfire polearms there, if I recall correctly, and that is the new High Priest Venoxus. One assumes that the situation is quite similar to previous, and the area otherwise has not really changed in any great way. Now, the middle of this is where things start to get a little bit interesting. Getting up to the top of the temple is very difficult with a stealth character because it is surrounded by large Gurubashi spirit warriors, which will kill you horribly. They have detector, and they cannot really be gotten rid of, and they have a body slam that will take half your health off very easily. But we are going to have a look at it anyway. You'll find another Tiki Lord over here, that's Mullah, and what we will also find as we go down here is the large troll berserker fisherman, which is very interesting. You'll also note that the bat area is blocked off by a fallen tree, and since Jeklek is dead, horribly, horribly dead, and the body destroyed, I would not expect that to ever open up ever again. Okay, down we go, down we go. Greetings to Gub, the destroyer of fish. Yes, indeed. An interesting fishing technique being used there. I don't know just how effective it is, but they keep him around. I don't know, maybe getting rid of him would be a little bit inconvenient. It's like, oh, just let him do it, Frank. It's fine. He's not bothering anybody. Now, those large, odd-looking berserkers over there are the spirit warriors. They are, as far as I can tell, the most dangerous mobs in this area. They hit like trucks, they are very difficult to deal with, and they do, in fact, also have a detection ability. You'll also notice these shades around here. These will actually activate. It's either trigger points or it's if you aggro these spirit warriors. Now, getting past these spirit warriors, as I said before, it's not impossible. I tried combinations of preparation, double vanish, and things like that. They will keep pursuing you. They have a very, very large range. So what I'm going to do is I am going to show you what I can of it. As far as I'm aware, you have to defeat all the bosses for the last boss to actually be properly summoned, but you will see something fairly interesting. Inside this area, there's just nothing. But we're going to pop up to the top right there. I will die because you just can't get up there otherwise, but let me show you exactly what you're going to find. Now, there you go. That is a car, and that I couldn't identify, but after a little bit of research, that is the shade of Jindo. Jindo the Godbreaker is what he's now called. It looks like he's actually managed to bind Hakar to his will. Lord knows how he did that, but whatever the case, that, I believe, will be the final boss encounter in here. There is one more area that I'm going to show you, which is the old Jindo the Hexo area, which is now Zanzil's domain, and you'll have to sneak past all of this stuff right here to get there. The terrain of this area has changed fairly significantly. As you can see, it never used to look like that. It's a lot creepier. We've got these mummified trolls right here. And there you go. That is Zanzil. Now, Zanzil goes around draining cauldrons. I do not know why. Obviously, this is part of the fight mechanic in some respect. Ooh, you stay the hell away from me. Thank you very much. Not messing with the voodoo right here. You'll also notice these suspended, I believe they're dead as far as I can tell. Perhaps he reanimates them, but whatever the case, these berserkers right there. Now, you'll have noticed as we went through this that the dungeon appears to maintain its original non-linearity, so there are a couple of ways of going through it. It's a little bit more limited because you end up losing access to the spider area, the bat area, and things like that, so you're either going to be going one way or the other. You don't really have 3 ways to go around this time, it's more like 2. But whatever the case, I do appreciate that the non-linearity is there in some regard. As far as I can tell, you can kill the bosses in pretty much any order you want, although I have the feeling you may want to kill those Venomancers quite early on. As you'll also notice then, there's another buff that will reduce nature damage by 90%, and if you click the red one, it's going to do damage to you, and it will put on a 30-second Hellfire, which does damage to everyone around you as well. Needless to say, that's kind of inconvenient right now, and I'm happy that Zanzil's having a little dance over there, and is paying no attention to the flaming troll rogue behind him. It'd be kind of unpleasant. So, folks, I think that is pretty much it for Zul Gurub. I will try and do the same thing for Zulaman. I don't know how easy that is to sneak around. But what I will do is, when I have a group available, I will do some runs, I'll give you some wipe-a-thons, and I'll also hopefully give you some boss guides of this upcoming remake. Aside from that, my personal opinion on this is I really do not like the fact that they're bringing back yet more remakes as opposed to new content. I hope the Abyssal Maw is still coming in 4.1 like they promised, because if this is the replacement for the Abyssal Maw, I will not be pleased. Yes, a lot of the bosses do seem to be a little bit different, but I'm also told that a lot of old mechanics like Venoxus and Mandakia do continue to remain, so not so great. But we'll see how it goes, and I'll give you a full rundown with the upcoming dungeon run video. My name's been TotalBiscuit, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.